Former Tory Leave supporters having a bizarre road to Damascus moment and now supporting the Brexit cause. Not just supporting the Brexit cause, but going full hardcore supporting the Brexit cause. People like Liz Truss, and more explicitly for this article today, people like good old Frosty, our former chief negotiator. Again, this is a bizarre tie to it, but again, you can find Frost when he was head of the Scottish Whisky Association, I think it was called, basically extolling the virtues of Britain being a member of the European Union, being a member of the single market, how good it was for Scottish whisky. You can find those articles that he wrote out there, the videos that he was, the conferences that he was at, the people who heard him even say that. And now here we are, Scottish whisky. What a year it has been for something that is a major industry and again a major player in the Scottish economy. It has regionally, worldwide known and worldwide respect that if you want whiskey, you go to Scotland to get it. Or if you want a good whiskey, make sure it's Scottish. This is something that is known around the world, like Belgian chocolates and Belgian beer. Belgian beer is not really that good, but worldwide, it has a very good reputation for being like the top of the game. And it's the same for Scottish whisky. But with Brexit, this has thrown the industry into some huge curveballs and made it even harder to essentially trade with its largest market, especially the Germans, because there's one thing that I know: Germans love Scottish whisky. So before we go diving into this, please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and a one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, well, buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much to all those people who do support the channel that way. So this article for today comes from The Courier with the title of Life After Brexit, a year like no other for the Scottish whisky industry. Known the world over, there are few products more synonymous with Scotland. But in 2021 has been an incredibly challenging year for the industry. Since the UK left the European Union Single Market and Customs Union, although the UK had initially expected to leave the EU on the March 29th, 2019, this was extended and the UK officially left and entered into a transition period on January the 31st, 2020. This period, of course, ended at 11 p.m. on December last 31 last year. And then, since then, producers have been hit by sometimes bewildering sets of new rules. One of the biggest problems has been shipping and getting whiskey through customs to sell internationally. Prior to Brexit, around a third of the UK's whiskey exports, totaling at least £1.3 billion, was sent to the EU, according to the HMRC's overseas trade statistics. But now each individual European country has its own shipping and customs regulations for the Scottish distillers to contend with. John Laurie, the managing director of the Guranty distillery in Crieff, I think that's how you say it, shipping has become an issue. We get pallets to Japan quicker than we get them to France. They are now sitting in warehouses until everyone understands the logistics. We've got goods refused several times in Italy, and we ended up having to speak to the Italian consulate to find out what we wanted. It was a learning process which took many months of failed deliveries. Shipping companies are also struggling to try and cope with demand of opening up into all the individual markets rather than just one block member. Brexit has not made things easier for us. We found working with the EU for exporting goods to be much harder than it was before. And if we can't get our whiskey to France, then there are other spirit companies happy to take up that shelf space, which has a commercial impact on our business. Things, though, are improving for the industry, with export increasing by 7% in 2021, But this has significantly down on exports levels for 2019 before Brexit and even the coronavirus pandemic. As well as also dealing with difficulties in shipping, each EU country can now ask for different things to be printed on labels and for different paperwork to get their goods through customs. Graham Littlejohn, Director of Strategy and Communications at the Scottish Whisky Association, said, "We have been trading with the EU for at least 40 years now, and we have all these different paperworks and different customs officials which now delay things. This has been flagged to us on a case-by-case basis, and it has been raised with the European Commission and even the UK government to try and get it resolved." Mr. Laurie added, "Before it was just the EU we needed to comply with, but now every market is free to pick and choose what they want on the label, which means we are having to produce different labels for different markets. Those who deal with customs clearances have to deal with so many more markets and the admin, so this has grown exponentially overnight. The Netherlands, for example, want to say the United Kingdom on labels, not GB, or Scotland, or anything else like that. Whiskey is sitting in warehouses waiting for all these documentation. Although trading internationally has been a huge part of the day-to-day business for the whiskey industry, it also relies heavily on tourism. In 2019, for example, a record 2.16 million people visited distilleries in Scotland. Tourism was almost completely ruined in 2021 because of the coronavirus pandemic, but Brexit has also taken a toll. Ian Alien, the brand ambassador for Glenmoray Distillery in Elgin, said that before people could come in and buy as much as they wanted to take back to Europe, we used to get a lot of whiskey fans and collectors, clubs coming from Europe, particularly Germany, and filling up their car, and they went from distillery to distillery. But now there is a restriction of at least 2 litres per customer. This, as an effect, has yet to be properly raised because of the reduced tourism caused by Brexit. Similarly, the European hospitality industry has also been ordering less because of the restrictions imposed by the pandemic, and the lack of global travel means that not as many bottles are now flying off the shelves in airports. And of course, the Glenmoray Distillery, I don't know how you say that, but I butchered it wrong, also says that it will stop selling direct to customers in France in 2022 because of the different demands from HMRC, means that it is no longer worth it. Although the whiskey is made in Scotland, much of the industry supply chain does come from the EU, such as dry goods, glass, and cardboard packaging. Although less than 10% of Scottish distilleries use packaging and glass from the EU, almost all use corks from Portugal in their barrels. Glentoran also uses glass from France and cardboard from the Netherlands. Mr. Laurie said, "When Brexit first started, we didn't have a problem with the queues at Dover or getting our stock across the border. But when we launched our 21 range, we needed to buy more corks from Portugal and the cythosanitary certificates on everything we imported, which we never used to have to do before. It was the same with France when we were getting our glass bottles from. We were under severe pressure to get cardboard to this year. So could it have been easier?" But just what could have made 2021 easier for the whiskey industry? The Scottish Whisky Association thinks more time would have been the answer. What we were saying right back at the end of 2019 and 2020. Why are you doing this so quickly? What's the rush? Mr. Littlejohn said, "We've done a significant amount of planning from the time Brexit vote happened in 2016 right through to the end of the transition period. It has been a lot of work to get a lot of companies to try and prepare as much as possible with the Scottish and UK governments. We called for more lead-in time to try and prepare to get these to try and get a certainty around the trading, customs, and shipments. These things the UK government can do to mitigate the challenges that still exist, particularly looking to global markets." Mr. Laurie added, "We would love to have some more communication and guidance from the government in a timely fashion." But we went into the 11th hour, so we didn't even know. They didn't even know themselves. I attended everything I could to prepare businesses, but there was no concrete guidance, even in early December last year. Had they concluded negotiations earlier, they could have given businesses a period to get ready. Then we would have been successful in navigating through. Businesses want to be successful, but we didn't have any information to hand. And of course, this goes on to what we've heard all this before about having the trade deal with Australia, etc. Again, sending, I can't stress this enough, sending stuff, especially large amounts, which probably most of these distilleries are, costs money. And the shorter distance it has to travel, the less amount of money it costs. And of course, remember, if you're sending stuff long distance, that means if you're sending whiskey to Japan, this is why, again, if you ever go to Japan, whiskey is really expensive, especially if it's foreign, especially Scottish whiskey. Most of that is because of the distance it has to travel, because they have to put the price up to try and at least make it worth sending over to Japan to sell in the first place. So the less further you actually have to send a good, the cheaper you can sell it on for, associate price. I can't believe I have to say that, but that is basic economic knowledge that many Brexiteers seem to even lack or even comprehend. But there you go. So safe to say, it really has not been a good year for the Scottish whiskey industry. And 2022, not probably going to look good either. The fact that we already did a video just yesterday, indeed, about the fact that many businesses are just going to say it's not worth it and just stop either importing or exporting. And that is going to affect hundreds of thousands, especially like when you're talking whiskey here. There's large distilleries, there are small distilleries, and those small distilleries, those are the ones that are going to get hit the most by all this, especially with the drop in tourism, the customs declarations, how you're only allowed to take so much back. The fact that you had it there themselves, you had German whiskey clubs and all sorts of clubs from Europe that would come to Scotland, literally do like a tour and load their car up with massive volumes of whiskies. It speaks volumes. It really, really does. But that's where we are now, unfortunately. Of course, there's a whole issue of what happens if Scotland leaves the UK. Of course, again, it won't be Scotland's, shall we say, journey to rejoin the EU won't be easy, but it will probably be able to get in at least the customs union and single market. So that will, again, maybe relieve some stuff there. But again, it won't be necessarily easy for this industry to, should we say, survive. I think a lot of industries this year are going to really suffer. I've said before, 2022 is the year a lot of this stuff is really going to hit. And in fact, now we've got a very hardcore libertarian government who are, well, who knows exactly what they're going to do this year, but we'll probably get in that tomorrow. But yeah, needless to say, 2022 is not going to be a good year for a whole lot of industries, and I don't think it's going to be good for the Scottish whiskey industry either. I fully expect them maybe to see another article, maybe this time next year, on how 2022 went for the industry. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. Please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and a one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, buy me a coffee. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and we will see you all next time.